Hello, good day viewers. Still on graph transformations. Today we have a very nice problem that involves vertical shift, vertical stretch, and vertical compress. We are given f of x, which is the same thing as y, with the following coordinates. A is negative 1, 0, B is 0, 2, C is 1, 2, and D is 2, 0. And we are asked to apply this tree transformation on the graph of this function. Already I have constructed the graph of this function. You don't even have to know the function since the points are given. And here is the graph of that function. If you can relate, E is what? Negative 1, 0, where x is negative 1 and y is 0. So you can see a point here where x is negative 1, y is 0. That is x-intercept. Then we have B to be 0, 2, where x is 0 is here and y is 2 here, right? So we have a point here. Then lastly, second to last, we have C, which has a coordinate 1, 2, where x is 1. You can see this is where x is 1 and y is 2. We have a point here. And lastly, we have 2, 0, for which x is 2, but y is 0. So this is the points I have connected to form this graph. Let's start applying these transformations. We have 1, 2, 3. The A part, y plus 2 equal to f of x. First of all, we have to make y the subject. So A part, if you take 2 to the other side, it is going to become negative. So we have y equal to f of x minus 2. You should know that f of x is nothing but this function that has these coordinates. And I have already constructed the graph. So what does this mean? It means that from the main graph, which is f of x, you should shift it downward 2 units because this is only affecting y coordinates and all x coordinates will remain where they are. So every point I have on this graph will be shifted 2 units downward. Let me start with this point. It is going to be shifted downward 2 units. So under 1, this is where we have 1, shifted downward 2 units. Because of that minus 2, you have a point here. Then coming to this one, which is located under 0, 2. This is 0, 2. If you shift it downward 2 units, it becomes exactly at the origin. Remember, we have a point under 1, 2. This is 1, this is 2. We have a point here. If you shift it downward, it becomes this. And lastly, remember we have a point here which is under 2, 0. This is 2, 0. Shifted downward 2 units. It is now here. So these are the points we need to connect. I can even copy this graph, then shift it downward 2 units. And that's exactly what I'm going to do. All right, so now you can see the graph. I have connected all the points, though my hand is not accurate, but you should understand what I mean. So if this point is negative 1, 0, it will now be negative 1, what? Negative 2. This is the point. And if this point was 0, 2, it is now going to be what? 0, 0. This is 0, 0. So all the points has been shifted. And what you can do as well, you can add that negative 1 to all y coordinates. Look at them here. If you add negative 2 here, it becomes negative 2. Add negative 2 here, it becomes 0. So we have 0, 0. Negative 2 here, it becomes 0 as well. Negative 2 here, it becomes negative 2. This is why we have, this is negative 2. Before it was 0 here. So we are done with the first part. Let's take the second part. The B part, we have 1 over 2 multiplied by y equal to f of x. To make y the subject, you multiply both sides by 2. Therefore, y will be equal to 2 times f of x. You should know that f of x here is representing y. Therefore, this effect is only on y coordinates. We are going to take every single y coordinate and multiply it by 2. And all x coordinates will remain where they are from the original graph. That is the mother graph. So let me form another grid here. All right, here is my grid. First of all, because everything is affecting only y coordinate, so the coordinate here will be multiplied by 2. And 0 times 2 is still 0, right? So we are going to locate negative 1 comma 0. So negative 1 comma 0 lies here, so it is not going anywhere. It remains where it is. Then the second one, we have a point here, which is what? Under 0 comma 2. 0 comma 2, which is right here. This 2 will be multiplied by 2 to become 4. Therefore, we have 0 comma 4. Let's locate 0 comma 4. This is 0. 4 is 1, 2, 3, 4. We have a point here. We move on. This time around, the graph is going to be stretched. We have another point here under 1 comma 2. That 2 will be multiplied by 2 to become 4. So under 1 we have 4. This is 1. We locate 4. 4 is right here. Then the last point is 2 comma 0. The 0 for y will be multiplied by 2 to become 0. So we have 2 comma 0 as well. So under 2 we have 0 here. So let's connect all these points together. All right, so I have just connected all the points together. And this graph is what? Y equal to 2 times f of x. The previous one is what? Y equal to f of x minus 2. Then the last one here is 2y minus 1 equal to f of x. So let me do a rough work here. First of all, let us take this negative 1 to the other side. It becomes 2y equal to f of x plus 1. Then we divide both sides by 2. This implies that y equal to 1 divided by 2 times f of x, then plus 1 divided by 2. So this is the graph we need to construct from the Mother graph. So let me just copy this. Let me keep it here. So what does this mean? It means that y, which is f of x, will be multiplied by half. So every single y coordinate will be multiplied by 1 over 2. O will be divided by 2, all the same. Then after that, the result will be added to 1 over 2, which is a shift. So we are doing two things simultaneously. All right, here is my y and x axis. Let me look at the function. We are going to take every y coordinate and multiply it by 1 over 2 first. So the first point we have here for y is 0, as 0 times 1 over 2 is still 0. So after getting that 0, we add to 1 over 2, it becomes 1 over 2, because 0 plus 1 over 2, though 1 over 2 is 0.5. So 0.5 plus 0 is still 0.5, which is under 1. Therefore, under negative 1, sorry. Therefore, under negative 1, we locate 0.5. Then we move to the second point, which is what? 2. 2 times 1 over 2, or 2 divided by 2, is 1. Then 1 plus 0.5 is 1.5, which is under 0. When x is 0, we locate 1.5. So under 0, this is 1. This is 1.5. We locate a point here. Then we move on to the third point, where still we have the same point, where at 1 we have 1.5, because this is 2 as well. 2 divided by 2 is 1, and 1 plus 0.5 is 1.5. So under 1 we still have the same point. Under 1 here we have a point here. And lastly, we have 0. 0 divided by 2 is 0, then plus 0.5 is 0.5. So under here, under 2, we have 0.5, which is halfway between 0 to 1. So these are the points we need to connect. Do we have another one here? This is how the graph will look like. All right, you can see I have connected all the points. And this graph here is the graph of y equal to 1 divided by 2 times f of x plus 1 over 2. After you have rearranged this function to y minus 1 equal to f of x. So what can you relate? This is the Mother graph, which is right here. If you observe, this one has been shifted 2 units down. This one has been stretched up. And this one has been compressed. So we have a shift, a stretch, and a compress. And this is all I have for you today. Thank you for watching. Do share to your learning colleagues, and don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel for more exciting videos. Bye-bye.